1 Million Privé has been in recent talks of discontinuation. That is the D word that any fragrance head starts shivering, going, what's getting discontinued? Blind buy, let's go. What's happening? Well, some stores are removing their old stock of Privé. They're making some room for the shiny new toy. You know, Lucky was released, and now 1 Million has a brand new flanker to their 1 Million stable called Parfum. So this thing was actually selling for around bargain bin prices, including in my country, Canada. Well, damn yous, because I got the little short stick right here. You guys got all of 100 mil for $19.99 at Shoppers Drug Mart. I see you. Well, here I am holding my little guy. The comments below. Now, I digress. The talks in the community is this is the more mature 1 Million. This is the one, actually, in our little community, this is a really popular release. A lot of people prefer this one over any of the line. So here we are. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dissect this one for all of you. The one thing that is guaranteed on the Robes 08 channel is when you tune into a review, you do not know what you're going to get. You can get something that'll go real sour, real bad in a fragrance review, and it's going to get a really shitty score. It might get hyped. Maybe it'll be right in the middle, and I'm just going to say it's okay. But one given is today. Paco Rabanne, you're up to bat. YouTube fragrance family, welcome to another Robes 08 fragrance review. Today I'm putting my nose on the house of Paco Rabanne and one of their many flankers to their bestseller, 1 Million. Remember the gold bullion? How can't you forget? Well, today I'm going to be talking about the flanker called 1 Million Privé. Now let's go back in time. I was the very first one on YouTube to review the gold bullion, 1 Million, back in 2009, man. Going back. I also re-reviewed it on my channel. That's how much time has passed by. Actually getting pretty good scores on both reviews. Now, I also reviewed recently, back in 2019, a flanker that is hard to find now. Absolutely gold. And what's next after Privé? Well, 1 Million Lucky. Also, something fairly rare on my channel. I reviewed the ladies' counterpart, Lady Million. So check it out if you haven't already. Now I'd like to know, I still have a few more flankers to actually review on my channel. Please comment below. Let me know which one you'd like to see on the Robes 08 channel to be reviewed next. Or should I just skip those now and get the new 2020 release, the Parfum edition? Let me know. Now before we get into the meat and potatoes of the fragrance review, if you're new here, please subscribe down below. Hit that bell. I love the sound of that bell. So you can keep tabs on yours truly, especially if you want to see some fragrance reviews on some 1 Millions, like 1 Million Cologne here and the Intense version that maybe you haven't seen on another channel. I'm also all over social media. You can follow me on all platforms under my YouTube handle, Robes 08. You'll find me on all those platforms. Talking about social media, if you have a Facebook account, not only can you follow me on my page, but also have a Facebook group called Fragrance Guru Nation. We're up to 17,800 members and we're waiting for you to join us today. Now let's get into chapter 1, and that is all about the scent. This is meat and potato time. Let's get under the hood with 1 Million Privé. Release date was back in 2016. Concentrations eau de parfum. Now the nose behind it, this one, a nose that has some lukewarm releases, but recently, can I classify a nose as underrated? Because Christophe Renaud has done some really great stuff, especially recently, some stuff that flows under the radar with the rest of everybody. But the fragrance community, once I start naming off these fragrances, you're gonna be like, what? He's the nose behind this? Of course, Christophe did the original 1 Million, which is years ago, and has done the newest flanker, which I'm going to put a picture right here because I don't own it, 1 Million Parfum, which is the 2020 release, but has done a couple great Issey Miyakis, especially recently. Noir Ambre, and then of course Art Essence. Two fragrances that I absolutely love. I'm a big fan of course, the Issey Miyake house, but Christophe did his thing there. The new Le Male here, Le Male Aviator, it's still in the tin can because I haven't unboxed it yet. If you haven't subscribed, yeah, you're going to see an unboxing on that one too. And one of my favorites from Davidoff, this has actually brought back Davidoff to my nose, is Leather Blend. So resume already with those Isseys and Leather Blend, I'm on board. And Privé is actually pretty good itself. Now, let's get into the olfactory group on this one. It is an oriental fragrance. It does tippy-toe a little bit into the gourmand section of things. So you're going to have some apple pie vibe, which I'm going to get into. Now, let's get into the notes of Privé. Up top, we have cinnamon and blood orange. In the middle, we have tobacco and myrrh. And then in the back end of the fragrance, we have patchouli and tonka bean. Now, the keynotes to me are cinnamon, tobacco, and tonka bean. That's obvious. You go on any YouTube channel that is reviewing this fragrance, they're going to talk about that stuff. But you tune into the Robe Zoe channel for those secondary notes. You know me, I gotcha. So let's get into the opening of this fragrance. Again, this is my set of the day today. I'm swimming in it. I'm living with it. And this thing changes. It morphs a little bit. This is not a linear set. So let's remind me of this introduction. I'm going to hit the back of my hand. One for the community, because I love you. And let's remind me of this introduction. And Privé comes off. Ooh. She's warm and comforting, which is so important for a fall and winter scent. Spicy. That cinnamon hits you. But yeah, comfort and warmth comes to mind. And these type of warm, gourmandish scents, I absolutely love. They dance on my skin. They do well on my skin. They get me compliments, all that good stuff. But let me paint you a picture with 1 Million Privé. If you've never smelt this fragrance, this scent color is straight up orange. Think almost rusty orange. It kind of reflects what the nameplate looks. It's a lot different than your original 1 Million, a lot darker. That's where I'm going with this color in my head. This fragrance screams fall all day, every day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. The gourmand tendencies here truly shine up top. They give you that warm, spicy apple pie, apple cider-ish. I'm going to get into that too, with a fruity apple hookah tobacco. That sounds great, doesn't it? Man, I love how this fragrance kind of morphs a little bit in the introduction. Now, let's start peeling those layers because that's what I do. Upon first sniff, 1 Million Privé surprises you a little bit as it does not start immediately like the other 1 Million counterparts that were released prior to this one. You know, the 1 Million, 1 Million Intense, Absolutely Gold, so on and so forth. Those fragrances stayed true to the 1 Million DNA. This one kind of went, Nah, I ain't doing that. Let me do something different. And it did. Now saying that, one of the more prominent notes in Privé is, of course, cinnamon. And one of the more dominant notes in a lot of the 1 Millions is, of course, cinnamon. It's one of the dominant notes, and that kind of makes you think about 1 Million. Privé utilizes a boatload of cinnamon in here. It really has a lot of cinnamon in this fragrance. Up top, you can't miss it. Now, the cinnamon in here, there's different types of cinnamons in a lot of fragrances. This one's a soft cinnamon. It's not an aggressive, spicy, red hot cinnamon. I've smelt some of those. It's actually very pleasant, easy to wear, very soft. And this, in my opinion, is going to be your primary note in Privé and your X factor too, because the cinnamon is your major player in this fragrance. Cinnamon is becoming more and more of a popular note in designer releases, and for good reason. However, because of the use of it in this scent, it will remind some people of many releases in the designer game. This fragrance right here utilizes a lot of popular stuff. So it's going to get compared to a Spice Bomb because it has a lot of cinnamon too. It's going to get, of course, compared to Pure Havane because of the use of course, of tobacco. So you're going to see a lot of fragrance reviewers comparing to a lot of different designer top sellers. This fragrance stands on its own in that realm in my personal opinion. I don't think it smells like one or the other. It steals a lot from those, kind of takes a lot of popular DNAs and tries to mash it into one, but it's its own. Now, this introduction itself has kind of an apple pie vibe, which is not very unique, and I'm going to get into that. Now, the cinnamon is paired with a fruity apple note, which will remind many users of that apple pie, that gourmandish, and it does. Up top, right upon first spray, apple pastry. That's what it comes to mind for me. Now, it's going to remind some people of the fame Homme Narguilé. There's a lot of money in my hand, so if you're a designer head, do not start Googling Homme Narguilé from Hermes because you're going to fall off your seat on how expensive this is. By the way, worth it. Damn. One of the best in the game in regards to that. Some people are saying comparing it to cheaper fragrances, F that noise, is the best in the game. Now, it's also compared to Boss Bottled. Boss Bottled, of course, back in the 90s, one of my signature scents when I was a kid. Still a great scent in my opinion, but again, utilizes the spice, the apple, kind of reminds people of an apple pie-ish scent. So this will be compared to that. But to me, it's much closer to a Wajan from Parfum de Marly. Right? Wajan. I have a fragrance review on this one, by the way. Expensive 1 Million Privé, to be quite honest. I feel like this one's closer to that one. Now, that apple note with the cinnamon up top goes very much apple pie to me. I'll admit it, it does. But she turns into more of an apple cider. I really feel like once the composition gets into its own, you know, some of those darker notes starts coming through. It starts morphing into something a little more different. And I feel like it's more of an apple cider, more for the life of it than apple pie. It feels fairly thin, fairly gourmandish up top, just because of that apple vibe to the fragrance. And of course that pastry-like feel, but once it gets into almost like the start of the heart, apple cider to me. This sounds very gourmand-like, and yes, I'd classify this one as more of a semi-gourmand. And I do want to note that this one isn't as sweet as others in the brand. It's still sweet, but it's not that pop star kind of sweet. It's more in line with, it's really emphasizing more of its spicy qualities with some sweet qualities, to be quite honest. I can say it's less party, less out of control than some of its brothers, and more grounded, to be quite honest. And that's why it's called more of a mature 1 Million, because it's a little more grounded, less out of control. Really a nice, sweet fragrance. This opening is cinnamon as its primary, apple, splash of mandarin here, which kind of starts showing a little bit of the original 1 Million. You got that orange touch, and it does have that orange quality in this one a little bit, and then it's going to start making you think, okay, now it's starting to smell like the original 1 Million. However, very solid opening. I love this opening, to be quite honest. And I like my sweet designer scents too, so you got to keep that in mind. Now, once the scent morphs from apple pie to apple cider, this is where the tonka, the tobacco, they start sharing the overall theme, and you'll get some transition here as this scent darkens a little bit. The tonka itself gives more of a familiar vanilla sweetness here. The tobacco is not big. It's not really that bold or even dark. It's more of a playful accord than anything. It kind of reminds me of a flavored hookah tobacco, to be quite honest, which will go more into the apple flavor. Why not? Just because it has a splash of apple with a pinch of resins from the myrrh. A very interesting combination, to be quite honest here. This is where things kind of get interesting because it's a little different than just the apple pie vibe. It really morphs into a secondary category, your heart, which I absolutely loved on this fragrance. Now, you mildly get more of that 1 Million DNA here. It reminds you that it's part of the family, but it's that one cousin that really doesn't want to be part of the family. Just kind of leave me alone. This is one of those. The blend from fun, gourmand apple pie to a grown-up apple cider, apple tobacco hookah, solid. Transition, flawless. This is where Renault's skill gets shown in the heart. Now onto the deeper heart and base of Privé. Now your three-headed monster, cinnamon, tobacco, and tonka, they've taken control of this scent with minimal distractions. Now I did tell you earlier in this review that I'm your guy for secondary notes. There's not much here. Those three, the three-headed monster does take care of you in this scent. However, here we go. Let's talk about some secondary notes. You get a little bit of an earthy patchouli here. It's fairly mild here. The tonka itself, let's talk about the tonka. Now it's thrown off some vanillic accords here up in the front, but in the back end of this scent, it's starting to show me a little bit of a powdery aspect of the tonka. So some people that dislike powder in their scents or powdery aspects to their scents, key in on that in this review. It is something that does happen. It's not that prominent, I'll be honest, but she's there. And some noses that are really up to powdery scents, and they're just like, ooh, you're going to key in on it. So just one thing, it's not that prominent, but it's there. The cinnamon does take a step back now, which gives way to the tobacco and tonka, and they share more of the spotlight. As in the intro, the cinnamon was really the primary player. Now it's really sharing a lot of that spotlight, almost giving it up to the tonka and tobacco. Privé still has some playful aspects, of course, with the tonka, but it has some more mature aspects like the tobacco and cinnamon, but they're not too, the cinnamon's not that spicy. It's not that red hot spice. It's just good enough. The tobacco, not big, bold, and mature. It has some playful apple hookah type of aspect to the fragrance, but I enjoy the blend all in all. It has some fun in the composition, but also has some serious aspects. And that's what I like about Privé. It's kind of like a tweener. It's like somebody just starting to grow up a little bit out of the, the fun, playful stuff. They want to get a little more serious about their fragrance game. Privé is like that little stepping stone that you step up just a little bit, and then you get to Cool Roast by YSL, and you're like, what was I wearing before that? Now let's get into the rating system. I'm going to talk about some uniqueness in the scent here in regards to the scent profile. So let's take a look at uniqueness. Uniqueness of this fragrance, it's got some unique aspects given. Now, we don't want to totally look at just the intro, apple pie vibe, homme narguilé, wajan, gazillion fragrances that smell exactly the same in the introduction. That's my point. In the introduction, they don't smell alike throughout the life of them. But I'm going to give it 5 bottles out of 10. It's not overly unique. It gets compared to Pure Havane, Spice Bomb, Armani Code Profumo, Wajan, CK1 Shock, Boss Bottle Intense. The list continues on and on. So as far as it being unique, it is its own set, but it pulls a lot from a lot of recent designer releases and niche releases too. The scent itself, as a whole, I'm going to give it 8 bottles out of 10. Renault's skill here just shows itself. It really pulls from like these Issey Miyakis that I absolutely love. Even Leather Blend, flawless. Skill is top notch. In the designer game, if I see his name attached to a designer release, you have my attention. I really feel like the blend and the way they transform on my skin, second to none. One of the better noses in the game right now. Now let's get into chapter 2, performance and feedback. And now that we've got meat and potato time done, the chapters are going to go quick now. Performance and feedback. Let's take a look at it. Sprays. Let's start it off with my spray routine. Again, my spray routine may change on, how warm, how cold it is. Am I going to go just indoors? A lot of people, a little bit of people. Am I going for a walk casually? Am I going to dress up? All that kind of stuff. But this is my preferred. 1 spray on the chest, as I always do. I like to clear out my stem here first and foremost. Then 2 on the neck, 1 on each side, and then 2 on the arms. I'm wearing a long sleeve, so I'll just put it right here. Usually I do inner elbows, a little closer in, but this will do. Beautiful apple pie, hit me up. 5 sprays, my preferred sprays. Now let's take a look at longevity and projection performance. Let's start with longevity. 8 bottles out of 10, 8 to 10 hours, any given wearing. Very strong in regards to longevity. I never had any issues with this. It hits my V like I want it to. Projection, 8 bottles out of 10 too. Higher than average. It projects very well. Now, to note, some people say this scent does not last nor project, so keep that in mind. Put it on your own skin. Yeah, I'm maybe your fragrance reviewer's favorite fragrance reviewer, but you still need to check it out on your own skin. Best advice as a fragrance reviewer. Compliment factor, 8 bottles out of 10. I told you guys, any type of gourmand, designer niche, doesn't really matter to me. These type of fragrances, they just dance on my skin, man. The compliments just roll in. 100 compliments a day, all day. No, but all jokes aside, very solid as far as compliment factor. I've sold a few bottles of this stuff because a lot of people love this on me. a lot of people talk about this when I'm wearing this. Like, I mean, this is my apple pie vibe. But I get the same type of compliments on this one. And I say, hey, remember that other scent? It's kind of around this one. This is really cheap, much cheaper, easier to find, especially around my way. So I always recommend this one. So I've sold a few bottles of this with some very happy customers. So now let's get into chapter 3. Of course, versatility. Now the versatility on this one, let's start it off with age range. I'm saying all, and I'm going against the grain, and I don't even care. I always go against the grain. If I feel, in my personal opinion, anybody can wear it, anybody can wear it. People are saying this is the more mature vibe, 25 plus. Yeah, but I think it's a great scent for a 20-something that is looking for something a little more mature, but still playful at the same time. You know, step it up your fragrance game a little bit. This is for you. Teens too, same thing. If your taste is getting into this a little more mature, that's the way to go. Now, 30-somethings like me, well, we're not going to wear this as a more mature scent for us. This is a playful scent for us that's not too childish, and I use it for casual use. Best for 25 plus, of course. But I feel like it can be anybody's game. This is one of those scents that anybody can wear it. Seasons. This is made for fall. It has fall all over it. I'd write fall all over it. That's fall in a bottle. Winter too works well. Spring overcast. You know, once it starts raining, you can still wear it. Spring nights, things like that. Night or day. I would have to say this is more of a nighttime scent. Again, I can wear it during the day casual. If I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt, it's a little cooler. I can wear this during the day, no problem. But I feel like just because of the way it's built, more of a nighttime scent for me. Occasions, casual, outdoors, events, things like that. Going to play pool, going to watch a movie, things like that. This is the type of scent that you'd want to wear. Versatility as an overall, I'm going to give it 7 bottles out of 10. Pretty good score here, depending on your look, which country you live in, how old you are. This may be worn more than some others. I feel that this has that spray it and forget about it. Now let's get into chapter 4. Value. Let's start it off with bottle sizes available. We got the standard 1.7, 3.4. I got the mini here, the 1.7 ounce. There's also a mega big bottle, the 6.8 ounce. Super rare, to be quite honest. But this, I feel like this is the most beautiful 1 million bottle edition, I guess. And a 6.8 ounce of this would look really good in my collection. But let's get into pricing. It varies. It's a huge gap, $20 to $130. It's starting to be more around $30 to $70 around online now. Again, like I said, some countries, they were getting rid of old stock of this stuff. Like people were getting 100 ml bottles of 3.4 ounce for $20. So the pricing is a big scale, so definitely shop around. You could probably find it around 50 to 60 bucks. Don't go any higher than that. Availability, we're hearing the big D word, right? Discontinued. I'll go with it. I'll run with it, especially in Canada here. 1 million. The one thing with Paco Rabanne in the 1 million series is a lot of the flankers get a short time lapse. You know, case in point, 1 million intense, discontinued. 1 million absolutely gold, both discontinued. 1 million cologne, same thing. So lucky is lucky to still be on shelves, I guess. But it seems like they're releasing new flankers and they're axing the older stuff. So keep that in mind. Possibly, from what I hear from my sources, getting the good old axe. Presentation, obviously new to my fragrance reviews. We're going to see some close-ups now. I feel like this is one of the better color combinations, designs of the 1 million bottle. Again, it gets a lot of heat in the fragrance community as one of the uglier, tackiest bottles. I'll never wear a 1 million fragrance just because of the bottle type of people. I feel like this is probably the classier one, the better looking one of the clan. So it gets points from me for that presentation. That goes to pricing versus quality. As an overall, I'm going to give it 8 bottles out of 10. I feel for the price it's going now, you're getting a very solid set. And the people that got it for 20 bucks for 100 ml, you got a steal of a deal, to be quite honest. I'm very jealous of you because I probably paid 3 times the amount that you just paid. So kudos to you. Now let's get into the final chapter of this fragrance review. And that's where we talk about the positive and negatives to take away, and of course my final thoughts. So let's start off on the positive footing here. Let's take a look at some of the positives to take away. I love the opening of this fragrance. I love the heart of this fragrance, and the dry down is just as good. The base is just as good. I really like the stages, the blend, and I feel like the way this was constructed, flawless. The nose, Christophe did his thing here, and it is a quality designer release. I really feel like this is a really good release from the house of Paco Rabanne. Now, negatives to take away. Some people have performance issues. There's a few YouTubers and some of their subscribers saying, it didn't last so long. It didn't project so well. So you got to keep that in mind if you're blind buying this fragrance and hoping for Beast. Keep that in mind. Not a unique scent profile. It's stealing a lot of what's popular, but making its own at the same time. I'm not going to poo-poo it too much as far as uniqueness goes, but it does steal a lot of stuff. It almost feels like, I'll take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that. This is popular right now. Let's put it in, but it was done right. And of course, one of the negatives too is it's getting harder to find at retail, right? Can you get a sample? Can you try out a tester? Things like that. It's going to get a little harder. So it's going to go into the blind buy bin, basically, that you're just going to have to pull the trigger just because it's harder to find. So my final thoughts on 1 Million Privé. We're going to put this one in the vault now. Game over. My final thoughts on it, it's the more intimate release from the 1 Million lineup. I felt I had more of a connection with this release than a lot of the others. Again, when this first came out, 1 Million 2009, I still have a connect. This reminds me of the start of my YouTube channel, so it has a place in my heart. This is my first hype train, we'll say. That and Issey Miyake 2009, but it still has a special place in my heart as in regards to my collection. So when I see it, I kind of go back into my YouTube glory years. But this one right here, I like this one for 20-somethings that, not your clubbing scent, but you're on a serious date, that kind of scent, For 30-somethings like me, this is our casual scent for nighttime. And I really like how that versatility to the fragrance, that almost anyone can wear it in the right type of format, it will work for you. This is a really good release. So overall, Privé kind of steals a lot of the recent hype notes in designer game, the tonka bean, the cinnamon, and of course the tobacco. So if you're a big fan of some of these recent releases, again, Spice Bomb Pure Havane, Armani Code Profumo, heavy, on the tonka, heavy on the cinnamon, and heavy on the tobacco, this may be all your favorites rolled into one, honestly. So honestly, a very solid release from the house of Paco Rabanne. I really enjoyed this release. I'm kind of, I got all the 100 mils right beside me, and I get the 50 mil in the one that I really, really like. And I kind of put quite a dent in this one. I guess I took a third out of my bottle. I should be fine, but a release that I really enjoyed testing. And that goes to an overall score. Privé gets an 8 bottles out of 10 out of me. Really enjoyed this release, and that goes to buy, try, or pass. I would have to say a try. The lack of uniqueness here hurts it a little bit, but I'd give it a try now while bottles and even samples are still available to try it out. At least I think so. With recent talks of discontinuation, which makes sense with, of course, Lucky doing so well and the new Parfum edition coming out. Paco Rabanne are known to start axing their stuff when it gets a little bit of dust, gets a little older with their 1 Million series. So definitely, if you're kind of on the edge, probably now is a good time to snatch one of these bottles up. Now that you know my take on 1 Million Privé, I'd love to hear yours. Do you have any thoughts to share with the community on this release? Good, bad, and the ugly. You know what? You're not going to hurt my feelings if you disagree with me. I'd love for you to share and help other people out that may be looking to purchase this. You'll say the downgrades on the release or the good things about the release, things you agree with me, disagree with me. That's what's great about a community. Now I'm going to leave you with a few takes from social media. I asked everybody on my social media, actually, what they thought about this particular fragrance, good, bad, and the ugly. I'm going to throw all those comments. I'm going to take a few of them, throw them in the back of this video. So don't leave just yet. You're going to get a bunch of, not only you get the comments down below, but you're going to get some in the back end of this video. To all of you that have responded to me on social media, merci beaucoup, j'apprécie ça. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And as always, I'm going to leave you with this one. A greater pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your 1 million flanker wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube.